USA has Aliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Chelsea Gray, Jerica Hamby.
USA Basketball just dropped a bomb. And the internet? It's on fire. Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Paige Bueckers, all on the same roster. But here's the thing nobody's talking about. Some players who expected to be on this list, they're watching from home, furious, blindsided, and their fans are absolutely losing it in the comments right now. This isn't the 2028 Olympic roster. Not yet. But make no mistake, this qualifying tournament in Puerto Rico, it's a statement. It's USA Basketball telling the world exactly who they're building around. And some people, they hate that answer. Now before we break down every single name on this roster, and trust me, there are some shocking inclusions and even more shocking snubs, I need you to do something. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston deserve to be on this team? Or should veterans, players who've bled for this program for years, get the priority? Let me know, because by the end of this video you might completely change your mind. Alright, let's get into it. Remember last year? Remember what people were saying about Aliyah Boston? She's not ready. She can't hang with international bigs. She's not elite. Those people, they're real quiet right now. Because Aliyah Boston hasn't just improved, she's transformed. Her game is unrivaled, dominant. Her confidence, through the roof. We're talking about a player who can score inside, defend the rim, and now she's making plays with the ball in her hands. That's terrifying for opponents. Coach after coach has said it. Teammates have said it. She's the rock, the anchor, the player you build a front court around. And USA Basketball finally listened. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone is celebrating. Some fans are pointing to veterans, players who've been with the program longer, players who've sacrificed, waited their turn, and suddenly find themselves on the outside looking in. And the question everyone's asking? Is USA Basketball making the right call betting on youth and star power? Or are they disrespecting loyalty? That debate is raging right now. And when I tell you who got left off this roster, you're going to understand why. But first, we need to talk about the player who changed everything. The one who woke a monster. The one whose snub last summer might be the greatest mistake USA Basketball ever made. Caitlin Clark wasn't supposed to be here. At least that's what USA Basketball decided last summer. They looked at the most electrifying player in women's basketball history. The player who single-handedly put women's hoops on the map for millions of new fans. The player who broke records, sold out arenas, and turned the WNBA into must-see television. And they said, no, not ready. Not experienced enough. Not now. Do you remember what happened next? Caitlin Clark didn't complain. She didn't throw a tantrum. She didn't blast USA Basketball on social media. She smiled. And then she said 5 words that should have terrified every opponent on the planet. They woke a monster. Let me tell you something about greatness. Greatness doesn't beg for recognition. Greatness doesn't need validation. Greatness takes the disrespect, bottles it up, and uses it as rocket fuel. That's exactly what Caitlin Clark did. After only 13 games in her shortened WNBA season, she came back to unrivaled and reminded everyone why she's different. The behind-the-back passes, the deep threes that have no business going in, the court vision that makes teammates look like all-stars. She didn't just play basketball. She put on a clinic. And USA Basketball? They were watching. They had to be. So when this qualifying roster dropped and Caitlin Clark's name was on it, nobody was surprised. But everybody was relieved. Because leaving her off again? That would have been basketball malpractice. That would have been ignoring the most valuable player in women's basketball. That would have been pure insanity. But here's what's getting lost in all the Caitlin Clark celebration. There's another Indiana Fever connection on this team. And it's huge. Coach Stephanie White is on the coaching staff. Think about what that means. Caitlin's head coach. Aliyah's head coach. The woman who knows their games better than anyone on earth is helping lead this USA Basketball squad. That's not a coincidence. That's a strategy. But not everyone sees it that way. Some people are calling this favoritism. Some people are saying Indiana Fever is getting too much representation. Some people are furious that their favorite player got passed over while the Fever keeps stacking accolades. And honestly, I understand the frustration. Because when you look at who didn't make this roster, when you see the names that were left behind, you start to wonder if USA Basketball made some serious mistakes. There's one player in particular, a veteran, a champion, someone who's given everything to this program, and she's not on the list. When I tell you who it is, and why fans are absolutely melting down about this decision, you're going to have questions. Big questions. Questions that USA Basketball better be ready to answer. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The names that aren't on this roster. Because while everyone's celebrating Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston, there are players sitting at home right now, staring at their phones, wondering what more they had to do. Wondering why loyalty meant nothing. Wondering if USA Basketball just sent them a message. I've been reading the comments. I've been watching the reactions. And let me tell you, fans are divided. Some people are saying this roster is perfect. Young, talented, built for the future. But others? They're furious. Where's veteran player? She's been with this program for years. This is disrespectful. And you know what? They have a point. Here's the uncomfortable truth about roster selection. Every spot you give to a young star is a spot you're taking from someone who earned it. Someone who waited. Someone who sacrificed. Someone who showed up every single time USA Basketball called. And now, they're watching from the sidelines. That's not just disappointing. That's painful. Let's look at who did make it. Sonia Citron from Notre Dame. Young. Fearless. Remember when she took down Marina Mabrey in the unrivaled one-on-one tournament? This girl doesn't care about your reputation. She'll look a legend in the eye and say, "Let's go." That's exactly the energy you need on an international stage. Ryan Howard made the team. A pure scorer. A floor spacer. Someone who can knock down threes when the pressure is suffocating and the crowd is screaming. Yeah, she lost in the one-on-one tournament. But this isn't one-on-one. This is team basketball. And Ryan Howard knows how to win in a system. And then there's Angel Reese. Oh, you know we have to talk about this. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. On the same team. Wearing the same jersey. Fighting for the same goal. These two have been rivals since college. The stares. The trash talk. The championship battles that captivated the entire nation. And now, they're teammates. But here's the question nobody's asking. Can they actually play together? Can two players with that much history, that much competitive fire, put it all aside for USA Basketball? Or is this roster a ticking time bomb waiting to explode? Because let's be real. Angel Reese is a dominant force. She crashes the boards like her life depends on it. She demands the ball. She demands attention. She demands respect. Caitlin Clark is the same way. She controls the tempo. She orchestrates everything. She's the engine that makes teams go. What happens when two alphas share the court? What happens when both of them want the spotlight? Some people think this duo will be unstoppable. Historic. The greatest pairing USA Basketball has ever assembled. But others? They're already predicting disaster. Chemistry issues. Ego clashes. A team that looks great on paper but crumbles under pressure. I'm about to tell you exactly why I think one of those predictions is dead wrong. And it has everything to do with someone else on this roster. Someone who might be the most important player nobody's talking about. Every championship team has one. A player who doesn't need the spotlight. A player who sacrifices stats for wins. A player who walks into a locker room full of superstars and somehow makes everyone better. This roster has that player. And she might be the reason Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese actually work. Chelsea Gray. If you know basketball, real basketball, you know this name sends chills down spines. She's not flashy. She's not going to give you a viral highlight every game. She's not going to dominate your social media feed. But she's going to win. Chelsea Gray is a connector. A floor general. A player who sees passes 3 seconds before they happen. When superstars start competing for touches, Chelsea calms everything down. When egos start clashing, Chelsea brings people together. When the game is on the line and everyone's panicking, Chelsea delivers. That's not hype. That's history. Now think about this roster. You've got Caitlin Clark, a primary ball handler who wants to orchestrate. You've got Angel Reese, a dominant post presence who demands feeds. You've got Paige Bueckers, another ball-dominant guard who's used to controlling everything. You've got Kelsey Plum, a scorer who needs her shots. That's a lot of alpha energy. A lot of players used to being the option. Without the right veteran presence, this team implodes. But with Chelsea Gray, everything flows. And here's what makes this even more powerful. Chelsea Gray isn't here for individual glory. She's already got rings. She's already got finals MVPs. She's already proven everything she needs to prove. She's here to lead. She's here to show the young players what it takes to win at the highest level. What it takes to sacrifice. What it takes to put the team above yourself. That mentorship? That's priceless. Speaking of veterans who bring it, Kelsey Plum is on this roster. And if you've watched her play, you know exactly why. This woman is a bucket. Pure and simple. She can score from anywhere on the court. Pull-up threes. Mid-range assassinations. Drives to the rim that leave defenders stumbling. When USA Basketball needs points in a crucial moment, Kelsey Plum delivers. But here's what makes this roster terrifying for opponents. It's not just the stars. It's the depth. Dearica Hamby brings versatility and toughness. Jackie Young brings two-way excellence. She can guard and she can score. Kalia Copper brings athleticism that's simply unfair. Kayla McBride brings veteran savvy and clutch shooting. This isn't just a collection of talented players. This is a squad. But there's one name on this roster that's causing absolute chaos online. One selection that has fans scratching their heads. One player who some people think shouldn't be anywhere near this team. And when you hear the argument against her selection, when you see what critics are saying, you're going to understand why this roster announcement has turned into an all-out war. The controversy I'm about to reveal? It's splitting the fan base right down the middle. And honestly, both sides have a point. All right, let's address it. The selection that has people absolutely losing their minds. The name that made half the fan base cheer and the other half scream at their screens. Paige Bueckers. Now before you say anything, yes, Paige Bueckers is incredibly talented. Yes, she was the most hyped college player before Caitlin Clark came along. Yes, she has all the potential in the world. But here's the problem. She's barely played. Injuries have derailed season after season. She's missed years of competitive basketball. While other players were grinding in the WNBA, building chemistry with teammates, developing their games against the best in the world, Paige was rehabbing, recovering, watching from the sidelines. And now she's on a USA Basketball roster? Over players who've been healthy? Over players who've been producing? Over players who've been showing up night after night? That's the argument critics are making. And honestly, it's hard to dismiss. She hasn't proven anything at the professional level yet. This is favoritism for star power. What about the players who actually earned this spot? The comments are brutal. The debates are vicious. And both sides are digging in. But here's the other side. Paige Bueckers is special. When healthy, she's one of the most gifted players on the planet. Her handles are elite. Her court vision is exceptional. Her ability to score from all three levels is undeniable. And USA Basketball isn't just building for now. They're building for 2028. For the Olympics. For the future of the program. If Paige Bueckers reaches her potential, she's a cornerstone piece for the next decade. That's the gamble they're making. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. What if the gamble doesn't pay off? What if Paige struggles to find her rhythm? What if the injuries have taken more than we know? What if she can't mesh with this roster full of established stars? That's a real possibility. And it's terrifying. Because this qualifying tournament matters. This isn't a friendly exhibition. This isn't a scrimmage. This is USA Basketball's reputation on the line. Losing? Not an option. And speaking of young players with everything to prove, Kiki Iriefin made this roster. Now if you don't know this name, you need to pay attention. Because she's about to become a problem for opposing teams. Fresh out of USC. Athletic. Physical. Hungry. She doesn't have the national spotlight yet. She doesn't have the shoe deals and the magazine covers. But she has something more important. She has no fear. That's what USA Basketball is betting on with these young players. Sonia Citron. Kiki Iriefin. Paige Bueckers. Energy. Fearlessness. Players who don't know they're supposed to be intimidated. Players who will walk into international arenas and attack. Mix that with the veterans? With the experience of Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum? You've got something dangerous. But there's still one massive question hanging over this entire roster. One factor that could determine whether this team dominates or disappoints. And it has nothing to do with the players. It has everything to do with what happens in Puerto Rico. The pressure. The expectations. The moment. What I'm about to tell you could change how you see this entire tournament.